Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Beth, and for today's video, I am finally going to film a full face of beauty pie. So I have had this in mind to do for a while. Obviously, if I am uploading it when I plan to, it will be Pie Day, and you know I love a good theme. I also saw, coincidentally, that Jennifer Coolidge had beauty pie makeup at the Shotgun Wedding premiere. The makeup artist Lily Keys used various products. So I kind of used that as a starting off point, and as you probably know, Jennifer Coolidge was famously Stifler's mom in the American Pie series, so everything kind of seemed to converge. So I will link the post that I referenced in deciding what to pick out from the Beauty Pie website, but I did actually pick out a full face of Beauty Pie. So there are some items in here that I'm going to be using that the makeup artist didn't use, but I kind of used that as my starting off point. And then I also added in some various other items. So I also wanted to mention that I am not affiliated with Beauty Pie. I will have affiliate links in the description box, which just means that I used an affiliate platform to generate a link, but I'm not being sponsored by Beauty Pie, and I don't have any kind of kickback or anything other than through those affiliate platforms. So I'll have the prices down below, the actual membership price that I paid, and then the estimated retail value, or what you would pay without a membership. So if you're unfamiliar with Beauty Pie, you basically pay, I think, $10 a month, which unlocks the member price. And I think I paid, I want to say it was around $250, and it was an estimated value of like $600 or $700. And even just going to the drugstore these days, putting together an absolute full face, like including eye primer and things like that, it does tend to add up. So yeah, I paid $255.50 at the outset, and then I also placed a couple subsequent orders because they launched a new tubing mascara, and then I also picked up their highlighter brush, which State of Kate had mentioned in a video, so I went ahead and picked that up, mainly because I don't necessarily plan to keep the membership from month to month. So because I ordered so many items at once, I'm not sure exactly when I would cancel the membership. But anyway, yeah, this was the main box that I got. Very fun. It says Beauty Pie around the edges. And then when you open it, I thought this was interesting. So this is an inner cardboard part, and I have already gotten into this, so it's probably not quite as nicely wrapped as it once was, but they had some Beauty Pie tissue paper, and then they have a little sample card for their Clean House scented candle, and it says, smell this, smell this, smell this. I feel a bit like Alice in Wonderland here, but I will oblige. So the Clean House fragrance, it has top notes of lavender and freesia, middle notes of white cotton accord and magnolia, and the base note is musk. And it also does have a QR code that you can scan, I guess, to find out more. Yeah, it kind of smells like laundry detergent, which makes sense. I mean, it's nice. I wouldn't want it as strong as I smell it on the card in the house, but, you know. Okay, so one thing I did pick up that I'm not going to be showing you on camera, I got their Dr. Glycolic Soft Feet Peel socks. So I wanted to kind of compare these to like the baby foot ones and some other ones I've tried. So I picked those up. Just thought I would mention that. And then, like I said, I have the brush, I have the tubing mascara. I also got their Uber Volume Boost Velvet Mascara in, I think this is the brown shade. Yeah, brownie. So I got two different mascaras to try. And the makeup artist, Lily Keys, she didn't only use Beauty Pie products, so I think like the eyeshadow might have been Charlotte Tilbury, for example. So like I said, I'm kind of using that as my baseline. So I think I'll just quickly show you everything I got and then lay it out on my desk here, which is actually kind of cleaned off for once. And then I'll just go through kind of my normal application stage. So I got the Pro Glow Strobing Drops, and I'm not entirely sure I realized I have 2 different nail polishes on, by the way. I was trying out 2 different polishes for a different video, so that's why my nails are different, but anyway. So the Pro Glow strobing drops, I think you can like mix that into a foundation or use it on top, kind of like a lot of other products like that. I'm just kind of picking things out at random. So I got the Everyday Great Skin foundation in the shade 25 Porcelain, which I believe is the lightest shade. So this is a nice little pump bottle, so I'm curious about that. The only product I have actually tried was the volume mascara, in part because I just didn't want it to be brand new the first time I used it on camera. I got the All-in-Wonder Illuminating Primer. And while I'm opening these, the idea behind Beauty Pie, it's a membership-based retailer, and kind of like Costco, like you pay a membership fee, but then you get a discount on a lot of different items. And these are all like their brand. But the idea, I think, is that they use different kind of high-end labs that would make, you know, the Charlotte Tilbury type products or whatever. And so they're able to get kind of the same formula, but obviously it's not the other brand. If I didn't say, this was the All-in-Wonder Illuminating Primer, so I'll be using that. The Fresh Glow Breathable Setting Spray, which looks like so. And I want to say this company was originally started in the UK. I think I remember Florida Force talking about it a long time ago.
A long, long time ago.
And at the time, it just sounded like, it sounded kind of gimmicky. Like I just wasn't sure whether to trust it if it was legit, but since then I have heard a lot of people talk about it. So I also got their Seamless Foundation Buffing Brush, and I do like how they've packaged their brushes in boxes as opposed to like when you purchase a brush, it has a kind of wrapping on it. Like when you purchase a Sonia G brush, for example, which are really high-end, natural Japanese brushes, they usually just come in a little plastic sleeve, which I guess is fine. I mean, it doesn't really affect the quality of the brush. It just doesn't feel kind of as luxurious when you're paying those kinds of prices for a brush. And I think these are synthetic. I want to say Khaki had this brush as one of her favorites. So I got that one. I also got the Pro Angled Concealer Brush, which kind of similar deal. It has an outer box and a little protective kind of sleeve on it. So this is a nice angled brush. I got the Quick Color Contour Super Gel. So I think this is a relatively new product. I know a lot of people have talked about their dupe for the Charlotte Tilbury Spotlight highlighter wand, which I'll talk about in a moment, but they've also come out with a contour, so I'm very curious about this. Yeah, I haven't seen anyone really talk about this yet, but I got that. And then, yeah, this is the Triple Beauty Luminizing Wand, so I'm curious how this compares to the Charlotte Tilbury. I've heard good things about this. And I didn't get any of the skincare or body care that they use because I try to avoid like fragrance and that kind of thing in my skincare, and I looked at the ingredients and it just didn't seem like it would work for me. So I got this Wander Gloss Collagen Lip Oil, which I think I might go ahead and throw on because my lips are feeling a little bit dry, and typically I like to apply some kind of lip oil. Has a flat applicator. Just a vanilla scent, it's nice. So not a lot of pigment. It has a very cushiony feel to it. It reminds me a little bit, I think, of the Pat McGrath glosses. And another YouTuber I follow who has done quite a few kind of beauty pie hauls and videos, her name is the Lipstick Gal, and she really likes this formula and has talked about it a lot. So I went ahead and got that. And then I also got their powder. So this is the One Powder Wonder. This is another product she has talked about. And this is just in their translucent finish, I think. Uber Lucent Universal. They have all the names in very small font next to the, oops, just had a little plastic protector. So that is what the compact looks like. I would say in terms of the packaging, it kind of falls somewhere, it's kind of middle of the road. Like I wouldn't say it's like super luxurious, but it doesn't feel like super cheap plastic either. So I guess for kind of what you're paying, it would make sense that it is not super, super luxurious. I got one of the James Malloy eyeshadow quads. I think these were limited edition, and at one time I know they had multiple different shades of this, but this was the only one they have left. Again, same kind of plastic packaging, says made in Italy. So that is the quad. So it's an interesting kind of color combination. On the website, the looks they came up with this quad were really pretty though. So we'll see how it looks, but I don't know if I would pick up this quad if I had other options. And the thing about this too, like I think it is kind of at least trying to look like a Charlotte Tilbury quad. It's just kind of flipped 180 degrees, and it says Beauty Pie up there instead of being like that. Like this is the Charlotte Tilbury quad in Copper Charge, and honestly the plastic doesn't feel that much more luxurious. Like they are pretty much spot on again when it comes to the dimensions anyway. And this was also made in Italy. So just to show you what the inside of a Charlotte Tilbury quad looks like. So you can see it has that Charlotte Tilbury on the bottom versus on the top. It's also silver in the Beauty Pie, but I think you can see what they're going for there. And then trying to get through the unboxing portion as quickly as I can. I got their Super Luminous Under Eye Genius, which is a corrector very similar, I think, to the Becca Under Eye Corrector, or Becca by Smashbox now. So I always do use a corrector, and I think this does come in different shade options. So if you have a deeper complexion, there might be one for you. And then I got one of their powder blushes. I think their cream blushes are pretty highly regarded, but I just got the powder blush in the shade Super Juju because that is what, again, the makeup artist, oops, another fly leaf there. That is what she used, and I don't think she specified the shade, but I just thought this one would be kind of pretty. So I got this one. Looks like it has a bit of a sheen to it. Yeah, pretty similar component. The blushes are a little bit smaller than I expected. You get 3.5 grams or 0.12 ounces. This Charlotte Tilbury blush, for example, is 8 grams. And I'm not saying a blush needs to be that big. It's just worth noting, I guess. This one from Hourglass is 4.2 grams. So anyway, I'll be using that. And then I got their eyebrow sculpting gel. I got a tinted one. I think the one they used on Jennifer Coolidge was clear, but because I like a tinted brow gel, I went ahead and got this one in the shade Blonde Girl. Yeah, I do like this style of really tiny wand. It's kind of like the Benefit Gimme Brow one. Optimistic about that. I got the eyeshadow primer, like I mentioned. That one comes in a little tube with a doe foot. It's a little more yellow than I might like, but anyway, I got that. And then we have the Everyday Great Skin Concealer. So this is the companion product to their foundation, and I think they only have one foundation, if I'm not mistaken. So yeah, also got this in 25 porcelain. Hopefully it's not too light. And then finally we have a couple of liners. I got the gel eyeliner in Molten Bronze. They really do make you hunt for the shade names. And this one is made in Germany. I'm just thinking about one of Marlene Estelle's recent videos where she said that all eyeliners are basically made in the same factory. I know like the Urban Decay ones have been made in Germany, and I think Germany does make a lot of them. I don't think all eyeliners are made in that one factory, but anyway. And then I also got the lip liner in the shade Rummy Pink. And this was a collab with Jenna Lyons, who at one point was, I think she was like the creative director of J. Crew, and now she has her own line of lashes. So she's kind of done a collaboration with Beauty Pie, as has James Malloy. Like we mentioned, I think he's a famous makeup artist I had never heard of. And I think Patty Dubroff also. So anyway, so they're kind of doing some interesting things with that. Okay, so now that I've told you everything I'm going to be trying on, I'm going to be starting first with the All-in-Wonder Illuminating Primer. And this is made in Italy. You get 30 ml or just over an ounce. Has a pump. Hopefully this doesn't look too yellowy orange on my skin. I'm pretty sure this only had one shade. It just smells kind of like paint, to be honest. It feels a little kind of like tacky, sticky almost. Kind of like the Make Beauty reverse emulsion. Okay, so that's the side with, and that's the side without. I did my skincare before, but it's been a little while. So normally what I do next is to apply my under eye corrector. So I will be talking about the Tarte under eye correctors, and I kind of rounded up all the other correctors in my collection, but because I think it most closely resembles the Smashbox one, I thought I would just quickly kind of compare them side by side. So very similar pot, obviously different lid. This one from Becca or Smashbox is the Fair Light, and you get 4.5 grams. This is the shade Light and Medium from Beauty Pie, and you get 4 grams. So I think the Beauty Pie one is even lighter. Similar texture, but yeah, there is definitely, I think, a slight difference in the shade. I mean, once it's on the face, I don't know how much you would really notice. So I'm just gonna warm it up with my finger and just kind of plop it on. And I think with my complexion at least, I could probably get away with just wearing that without a concealer or anything on top. The trick to some of these more emollient correctors is that they can crease a little bit more readily. So that's just something to be aware of. And if you do struggle with that issue, you may want to look out for that Tarte video. Spoiler alert. So, okay, so that is it for the base. And for the foundation, so I've heard at least, does this have a cap? I guess not. I think Mandy Davis MUA, if I haven't just broken the pump, it has like a little like twist mechanism. So I guess you twist open. Okay. She, I think, talked about this foundation. I think that's a decent shade match. So let's see kind of what the coverage is like. I guess I'm just going to dot it on. It is pretty liquidy. And I didn't mix it in with the strobing drops. So maybe I'll do that in a moment and just kind of see how it affects the finish. All right, so I'm taking this foundation brush. It's just kind of like a dense kabuki with a slight angle. I think generally I prefer to apply my foundations with a sponge, but sometimes it's handy to have a brush. I have to say, it's not like a super, I guess, hydrating foundation. It doesn't feel like, it feels like it's kind of self-setting, you know what I mean? I think it blended in really nicely with the brush though. And I guess that's, I would say, medium coverage. Let's see if it says on the box. Luminous finish, medium coverage, photo perfect. Dot gently down the center of your face, then blend outward with your fingertips, a blending sponge, or your favorite brush. And this is also made in Italy. Has a 12-month shelf life. Yeah, I wouldn't say this is like the most kind of dewy or luminous foundation. I think just looking at the kind of before and after, might need a tad bit more for this side of the face. I think that primer is kind of doing a lot of the like luminizing work, and my hair is getting stuck in it. So I'm not really kind of doing any sort of dedicated wear test for this face of makeup, but it is the Oscars tonight as I'm filming this, so I'm just kind of getting glam to sit on my couch, I guess. But yeah, I'll try to just note anything huge I notice at the end of the night. I'm just going to take what's left on my hand and see if I can build up a little bit, like on the centers of my cheek where I'm a little bit more red. I do like this brush. I mean, there's something about it that just, I think it's because it's so dense. Like I really feel like I can kind of move the foundation around without getting a lot of streaks. And just going over where I have a few kind of spots with hyperpigmentation. So yeah, it's definitely buildable. Still maybe a tad yellow, but I guess we'll see how it looks when all the other makeup is applied. Yeah, I don't know if it specifically says, like that's the model. Yeah, I think 25, it's supposed to be very fair with pink undertones. So yeah, I think I did maybe as best as I could with that shade range, but let me know if you think another shade would be better. Get the hair out of the face. I used my Dyson Airwrap, so I was trying to kind of preserve what I did, but I guess usually I put my hair back with a headband, so. Okay, so that was the foundation. What do I want to do next? So I think next I'm going to do brows. And this is the Archology Eyebrow Sculpting Gel in the shade Blonde Girl. So we'll see how this does. I have to say, I don't know. I kind of wish it had a smaller handle, but maybe some people prefer kind of the longer handle. I feel like I can kind of grip it easier. I guess I'm just not used to having one this long. All right, so probably need to trim my brows. It's an issue for another day. So yeah, so I think it definitely kind of helped fill them in. So it says taming, tinting, and thickening. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I mean, I think it's pretty comparable to other brow gels I've used, like from Benefit or Kosas or whatever. So I think I can definitely continue to use that. And I think next I'll go ahead and use the concealer. So we'll see how this looks with the foundation. So this has a just little doe foot, definitely lighter, and this is the same 25 porcelain shade. And then using this little brush, I like how they have the names on the handle, I appreciate that. The Pro Angled Concealer Brush. So this is kind of similar to the one from like Rare Beauty. Also blend out pretty well. If you're looking at picking up both the, I guess, concealer and the foundation, I think the concealer does run a little bit lighter. So if you prefer to have a concealer that's more skin tone, just be aware of that. But yeah, this concealer brush is also really nice. All right, so I'm just gonna let that kind of hang out for a bit, and we'll see how it does in terms of creasing before we set it. And then I think what I want to do next is use this like Charlotte Tilbury dupe. From what I recall, this comes in a few different shades. It's the Quick Color Contour Super Gel. So it looks like currently they only have one in deep on the website, but this one may come back into stock. But yeah, it's the same color, the entire applicator. And I don't love the Charlotte Tilbury one, to be honest, and this one in particular is kind of getting old. I keep it on hand more just for kind of comparison purposes. But this is the shade Fair Medium, and they are slightly different components, as you can tell. Like the cap and everything is different, but this one also has the little like sponge tip, and it has the open and close mechanism on it. So very curious about this one, and this one is made in Italy, as is the Charlotte Tilbury. So I don't know what it is, but I just find that so satisfying. Okay, the first few times you use one of these, it kind of takes a bit to get it saturated. Okay, so that is the Beauty Pie next to the Charlotte Tilbury. I think the Beauty Pie might actually be a little bit rosier. I mean, they're pretty doggone similar. Okay, so with this style of applicator, usually I just kind of do swipes. Get the hair out of the way. Might be too much, but we'll see. And then I'm not squeezing anything else out. I'm just kind of using what is still on the applicator. And then just taking a little bit down the nose. Okay, so far so good. What did I just use? Oh, the Iconic London Contour Palette. That was a challenge. I was using the Patrick Ta contour brush with it, and it was just really hard to kind of control. All right, so taking the same kind of foundation brush I used and just like blending upwards. I am going back to London for about 10 days at the end of April, so I'm already kind of starting to think about what I want to take with me makeup wise, and like what case I want to bring, like how much makeup. I uploaded a video of what I brought when we went over for about 2 weeks over Christmas, and I guess I want to try and pare it down a little bit if I can. And I also kind of try to think about, I'm going to do a little bit on forehead too, because I didn't get like a dedicated bronzer. So I just want to bronze up a little bit. I think that's usually how you see people use this type of product. And again, I didn't kind of unlock it or push any more out. And I'm just kind of pouncing. Yeah, so I think I was saying, you know, I don't want to bring anything that could be too fragile because it might break, or, you know, you think about what might leak, or if you're going to be just using carry-ons. I think that looks pretty good. There's, I think, like this one little spot, and I think, like when I was trying the Beauty Light wands from Charlotte Tilbury, the blush wands, the original ones, I think like when I was using dots, I'd kind of found that I did have to blend them kind of quickly, or I did kind of see where it just looked like there was still a dot on my forehead. So I don't know, maybe think about swiping instead of dotting if you're going to use this product. Yeah, this light shade does look like it's out of stock, but I think that does happen with Beauty Pie, is that they go out of stock, then they restock. Yeah, so far I think we're looking pretty good. I also have this other Illuminizer product, trying to decide. All right, so I'm just going to put a little bit of this on the back of my hand. I feel like that has a little, again, dark for me, I think. Let's see what happens. Yeah, I guess I can see blending that in with the foundation. It wouldn't change it too much, but I feel like this foundation is already kind of skirting the line, so I'm just gonna put this to one side and not use it, so I hope you can forgive me. But how do I want to proceed? I think I'll at least try the powder. I think my face in general is looking pretty good. I mean, it's a little dewy, or it looks luminous anyway, but it doesn't look, I don't know, it still looks pretty skin-like, which is what you want, right? So this is our Uber Lucent Universal One Powder Wonder Perfecting Powder. I'm just going to use this super big fluffy brush from BK Beauty. This is their 102, and I don't want to like use too much. It reminds me a lot of the NARS, to be honest, like their light crystal powder. Like it has that same, like it almost feels like plastic. That's interesting. So that's honestly not my favorite powder, but I guess it's nice that it's not going to like cake up too much. But you know, it still leaves you with a good bit of shine. All right, so I'm gonna use a little bit more on this old, what is it called? e.l.f. small tapered brush, which I guess they discontinued, which is a crime, to be honest. I'm just doing a light bit of setting underneath the eyes, although the concealer really wasn't creasing too badly at all. And I guess I'll go ahead and blush a little bit. I'm just going to use my referral number 5. It's not totally clean, but just try and knock off some of the excess there. And this little compact does have a mirror, which always kind of cracks me up because I'm not sure how you would actually use it. All right, so yeah, this is definitely going to be a pretty smooth blush. Like again, it's not like kicking up any powder. I wouldn't be surprised if they use the same like base formula as their One Powder Wonder Perfecting Powder. It is really pretty though. It's very soft. I think I do want to try their cream blushes. And in terms of the brush, like it's a natural brush, so it's usually pretty good about picking up product. And this one in particular, it's not like the densest blush brush I have, but usually with a pretty pigmented powder, it doesn't have any trouble. Okay, so yeah, I think so far, like everything is just looking pretty skin-like, which is nice. Like you can still see kind of freckles and everything kind of coming through. Okay, so that is the blush. So I think maybe all we have left, other than the highlighter, is lips and eyes. Oh, and I have the setting spray as well. All right, so I'm just gonna go ahead and open up this baby. I think it looks a little pinker than Spotlight. Definitely there though, very pretty. for that, I just have their mini that they came out with. So this one is the Beauty Pie shade in, does it have different shades? It says Wonder Whirl. Yeah, so definitely not identical, but I think like when the light hits it, it's kind of trippy actually. That's the Charlotte Tilbury, and that's the Beauty Pie. So if it's a little bit in direct light, you can kind of see the color difference a little bit more, but like when the light hits it, you can't really tell. And I will say that, I know Tarte is coming out with one of these products now too. Yeah, and I will say that like when I reviewed the Flower Beauty dupe of the Charlotte Tilbury light wands, my chief critique of that product, or downside I guess compared to the Charlotte Tilbury one, was just that it didn't really like sink into the skin as much or become like one with the skin, become really seamless. I'd say the Beauty Pie one kind of matches what the Charlotte Tilbury one does. So pretty impressive there. So their eyeshadow primer comes in a little tube with a doe foot. Super kind of pigmented, it seems. I wish they had more colors of this actually, if they had a more pinky tone. But let's take the concealer brush again. I know some people like to use concealer as base anyway, so it really does help to kind of blink out the lids. All right, and now that that is applied, it feels a little bit tacky, which I know some people like in a base, but I really just like bases to help prevent creasing. I'm going to set that with the same powder. And because like I apply my mattes first on my eyes, and so I want to make sure they can blend really easily. Okay, so I'm going to take off the mirror cover there. Yeah, it's a decent mirror. Okay, what do I want to do first? It is kind of psyching me out a little bit that it's kind of like rotated from what I'm used to. All right, so I'm just going to take a Sonia G, their classic crease, and go into that light matte. There's a little bit of kick up. And yeah. So you might want to either go in with a bit of a light hand or, you know, knock off your brushes. Okay, so going in then with a flat definer in the same shade. And I did set my under eyes, but I think some creasing underneath the eyes is kind of inevitable. And I just like to put some shadow underneath because it kind of helps prevent that. You can also just use whatever setting powder too if you don't want to actually apply like a pigment. Okay, so that was it for the, I think, classic crease, and then going in with the mini booster. And I'm gonna go into that shade and see how this builds. This is gonna be kind of a smokier eye. So I'm just like dipping, and I'm even kind of tapping off the brush. All right, so that definitely builds up some depth. I'm gonna have to go over it with that other shade. So not adding anything else on the brush for a second. I'm just going to blend. I think they blend decently well. And then I'm gonna go in with that lighter matte again, just because I want, I don't know, I want it to read a little bit more brown, I guess, and not quite so dark. And I kind of take my crease and my lid shade even up a little bit higher because I have hooded lids. So I want to make sure that they look pretty open. And that I think was just kind of a mistake. Okie dokie. All right, let's take the Refer 28 brush and go into this metallic. Again, just kind of knocking off any excess shadow still on the brush and going into that one. There's something kind of very, ooh, that, all right, so I'm just going to kind of lightly tap. Yeah, I think in general this is just a little bit of a darker palette, and there's a little bit more pigment than I thought. I'll show you some of the photos online, and I picked out the The eyeliner that, again, Lily Keys used on Jennifer Coolidge, but I'm not sure how it's really going to go with this eye look. Yeah, I wouldn't mind building up some of the like metallicness of it, but I don't really want to add any more to the kind of depth. All right, so again, cleaning off my brush and then going into that silver shade. Some of the pictures online, it didn't look quite so silver. Okay. I'm not sure, maybe they were for another quad that's been discontinued. I mean, this is a pretty kind of straight up smoky quad, which filming it on the day of the Oscars, you know, you have that kind of old Hollywood glam. So again, it's not bad. It's just probably not a color story I will reach for all that often, but like the metallics seem kind of smooth. The mattes blended well, so I think this one is just kind of more of a preference thing for me. And I could use probably that dark shadow to line, but I want to try to use the eyeliner. Okay, so this is their gel eyeliner in, like I said, Molten Bronze. And this is my preferred type of liner, so I'm very curious. I think it's just your straight up one that you sharpen. And transfers pretty well. It doesn't look too bad with this eyeshadow. I feel like I'm channeling the lipstick gal again because she always talks about her leaky eye. And that one likes to leak. Yeah, so I think, you know, that applied pretty well. The test for me is always, like, I like to use this little BK208 brush and just run it over the pencil and then see if I can kind of create a little wing. So, that worked a treat. Okay, so let's do the other eye. I don't think these are quite as creamy as the Victoria Beckham ones, but they are definitely, I guess, good for how I like to use them. So, and this really is more of a like dark bronze. Good if you like, I guess, a brown, but you want a little bit something. And you don't want it too warm, like a copper or whatever. I feel like this is a fool's errand at the moment. I was using the Stila Stay All Day liquid eyeliner the other day for the Ulta 21 Days of Beauty video that I just uploaded, and tell you that that waterproof liner did not stand up to my leaky eye. It's always tricky to get the angles right. I think that's pretty good. All right, we'll leave it there anyway. Okay, so for mascara, so like I said, I have two different mascaras. I have their new tubing mascara, which is part of their insider program. I guess this is kind of like a beta that I'm testing. It's in a pink tube. That's fun. So this is made in Korea. I am not huge into tubing formulas. This one has like a really interesting like spiral brush, but it's like a natural brush. So that's interesting. And then this is the Uber Volume Boost in the brown. So I feel like those are the two most requested or sought after mascara formulas. So I decided to pick up one of each. I guess I'll go ahead and apply the tubing formula on my lower lashes. And I usually do wear a waterproof. My favorite is the Tarte Lights Camera Splashes. So that is my favorite for the upper lashes, and then I usually use the Clinique Bottom Lash for my lower lashes, which has the same kind of really small conical type brush as the brow gel. But yeah, I haven't seen as many tubing formulas with this kind of wand, so that's interesting. But yeah, the reason I like, see how this stands up to my eye. So I'm just kind of holding it like right over my lashes and then just kind of gently moving it back and forth. I think that actually did a nice job of like not getting too much on them. I'm a fan of that. All right. I think I'm going to do one eye with one mascara and one eye with the other. So they're not going to be symmetrical, but I'm not going anywhere, so it doesn't really matter. All right, let's go ahead and go into the tubing formula. It does seem to build pretty well. And it's not a super spiky brush. I think that's pretty good. So this is brand new. I haven't used it before. So I don't know if it's gonna get a little bit more clumpy, but I mean, I think that's pretty good. It's keeping the lift so far anyway. It has some nice volume. The reason, yeah, I can see this eye is still leaking. The reason I like the Tarte waterproof is because my lashes are pretty straight. I'm pretty impressed. All right, let's go ahead and go in with the other one. And I always curl my lashes. And then going in with the brown mascara. I think this one's been open for, I don't know, like a week or so maybe. I don't think this one gives quite, the brown one, I don't think it gives quite, well, the drama, I mean it's brown, so there's that, but I don't think it lengthens as much. All right, let's see if I can do another coat of each one. Yeah, so far my money is on the tubing one, but you might have different desires for a mascara. I'm not sure if you're supposed to try to do more coats of a tubing formula, but I have to say, I think I like that better than the Tower 28 one, which I have tried. Yeah, I can see like a little bit of, you know how you get the balls at the end of your lashes, which I don't totally hate. It's not like a deal breaker for me. Yeah, I think this might kind of come down to what style of mascara. They do have a waterproof mascara. I think it does have one of those rubbery brushes, and it just looked like the kind that kind of gave you spider lashes in a way, like very clumpy. So, and I did just try to rub this, by the way. And it looks like it's pretty set. So, you know, minus the Niagara Falls we have in this corner, it should last pretty well. But yeah, hopefully you guys can see some good angles there. Again, this is the tubing one, and that's the brown one. Tubing, brown. All right, last but not least, I'm just going to remove any kind of residue. I think most of it's kind of worn off. All right, so going in with the lip liner in Rummy Pink. I'm glad I do have a lip liner because this gloss was a little bit too natural. So, and I think even this is pretty much going to be a My Lips But Better shade, which is nice. And then I like to fill in just a little bit. So yeah, they do feel pretty dry now. And let me just swatch this really quickly against Pillow Talk, I think. I don't think this is meant to be like a Pillow Talk dupe necessarily, but I know that is kind of one of the most well-known industry shades. All right, found my Pillow Talk lip liner. So that is the Beauty Pie Rummy Pink, I think it's called. The original Pillow Talk, that's Iconic Nude, and that's Pillow Talk 2 Medium. Very similar. I think, if anything, Pillow Talk is a little bit deeper. Let's go ahead and finish this off with a gloss. The lips do feel a little bit dry, like I want to put something on them, but of course, you put an oil like this on top of a lip liner, it tends to wear off and break down faster, but it's a really nice neutral lip. Yeah, and it's not overly oily. Like, it does feel a little bit thicker, a little bit balmier, but it doesn't feel sticky. So really nice formula to that too. Okay, so that is, I can probably take these out. Yeah, so that's my full face of Beauty Pie, and I am pretty darn impressed, I have to say. I don't think anything is an outright dud. I think there are some things that are just like formula preferences than anything else. I think, you know, some of my favorites, I really do like the Luminizer wand and the contour wand, or Quick Color Super Gel, I think it's called. Those are both great. The blushes are nice if you don't want a super powdery formula. I think they're a little hard to build. Same with the powder, it's just not really my favorite type of formula, but again, it's not going to be overly powdery either on the skin, so there's that. The eyebrow gel I think is great. I don't know if the primer really does anything for me in particular. I wouldn't mind having a different shade, like something a little bit more pinky. I think would work well for me. The strobing drops I didn't really try. Again, like I think I just have to be careful kind of how golden I go with some of these things. The foundation and the concealer are pretty nice. I'll have to see how these kind of wear. So far, I mean, no major creasing anywhere. Oh, I forgot about the setting spray. I was just about to say, it does look, I guess, a tad heavy where I built it up, but you kind of would expect that, I guess. All right, let's go ahead and set the face with the breathable setting spray. Has a nice pleasant scent to it. It's not the finest mist I've ever tried, to be honest. And I probably should have done that before I set my hair down. Yeah, so this you can probably skip on. I really enjoy the liners. How much are those? Yeah, they're like $8 for the lip liners, or I guess the Jenna Lyons ones are $9, so you pay a little bit more. The gel liners are about $8. So I think really good price point if you're a member. So those are worth checking out. The corrector is really nice if you like kind of the Becca style of corrector. Again, I can still see some like freckles and everything kind of peeking through on my under eye, which ultimately I think makes the makeup look more natural, more skin-like. But I don't feel like they're looking dark, so that's a good thing. The concealer was a smidge light, I guess, compared to the shade of the foundation, which was kind of interesting. The lip oil is really nice. I would look into getting more of these, especially paired with the lip liner. I think that's really nice. The eyelid primer I could probably do without. Again, it runs a little bit yellow. I did also get this highlighter brush that Kate recommended. I'm not sure how I feel about this one, to be honest. Like, it kind of reminds me a little bit of the Anastasia A23. They both have a pinched ferrule, but the Anastasia A23 is much wider, and it also, I think, is natural hair, so it's a little bit better at like picking up stiffer formulas. This one feels really soft, so I haven't used it. I just don't know kind of how well it would do with like powder formula, so I'll have to try that one at a later date. The other brushes, though, are both really, really nice. So yeah, they're, you know, synthetic brushes, but I think because they are so dense, they're really good at not streaking, and you can just kind of pounce things in. We'll see how hard these are to clean, though. But yeah, pretty nice brushes for your kind of cream complexion products. And let me just make sure I haven't missed anything. I think the only things left, this eyeshadow quad, it's a really nice formula. It definitely has some pigment, definitely has some nice shine to it. I just don't know if this is my favorite color story, and I'm hoping that they will collaborate with another makeup artist and put out new quads in, I guess, a similar form factor or formula, but I guess that remains to be seen. They have some, I think, cream shadow products, or they have some shadows in like face palettes, but they didn't have a lot of other eyeshadows. So it would also be nice, I guess, if they put out some larger palettes. I wouldn't mind seeing that from them. So there's that, and then finally the mascaras, and I think we definitely know which one is my favorite. So I haven't removed this yet, so again, I'll try to maybe leave a comment down below or in the description box. I'll let you know how the removal was. But yeah, I have to say I'm pretty impressed. Again, the tubing formula is going to be a little bit more dramatic, but if you like a more natural lash, the brown one is also nice. Yeah, everything is looking good so far. I'll give you one final close-up look. Again, this eye is the one that's been leaking, so that liner is just not really staying put. It doesn't look like the foundation is settling into my like major forehead line there, if it's gonna focus. That's the tubing mascara side. So anyway, that's gonna do it again for this full face. I am very pleased, I guess, and I don't feel like I wasted my money. I think some things are just more kind of personal preference, and hopefully I've given you whatever information you need to be able to decide whether to pick up any of these items. I'll have everything listed down below for you. And yeah, that's gonna do it. I hope you guys are all doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you soon. Bye.
They were singing bye.